What is the biggest load of bulls you have ever been told? I went to a preppy boarding school. They constantly harped on how every student was held to the same standards of honor and discipline. After 4 years there, I noticed that somehow the kids with their last names on buildings just couldn't seem to get in any trouble, regardless of constant violations. Go figure. At least you noticed and learned that lesson early in life. Oxygenated water. That is, bottled water that has extra dissolved oxygen in it, for athletic type things. Because we breathe oxygen, and more oxygen must be good for you, right? Except 2 things. 1, you don't have lungs in your stomach. 2, the oxygenated water is just regular old water. Sounds like H202, hydrogen peroxide. My mom telling me she never drank or smoked weed as a teenager and was a virgin until she was 28. My dad had a field day dismantling those statements. My dad, to his credit, was honest with me. Yeah, I used to smoke when I was your age, and I spent the next 15 years trying to quit. It sucked. This was probably the perfect response. Retail job last year. What days are you available? We'll make your shifts work for you. They proceeded to call me while I was on the way to the cemetery to inter my father's ashes and demand to know where I was, as if I hadn't told them about this freaking weeks ago during my interview. 3 months of similar bulls later and I quit. Didn't even bother to hand in a notice. Just called them and told them I wasn't coming in again. Frick retail. Not the biggest bulls I've ever been told, but I started working at a new place recently and everyone hates this 25-year-old kid and I didn't understand why. I'd spoke to him a few times, seen him speak to others and he seemed fine. Then they said he's a compulsive liar. He'll tell you he's a NASCAR driver, wins drift competitions on the weekend etc. So I'm like, okay. Anyway, one of the first times we met he told me about his Japanese girlfriend. Couple of days later he was talking to one of the co-workers about how his relationship ended because she had to go back to China. I said, isn't she Japanese though, and he just walked off. Lad from school insisted he'd been on a trip to Benidorm, during which he shagged 10 birds, got a C and alcohol addiction and skinny dipped with Rihanna. He was 14. Rihanna. What the heck? No one will believe you anyway. What your mother did wasn't that bad. Bunch of freaking bulls. Sister was diagnosed with PTSD for what she did to us and we were both in therapy for a long time. I'm planning on going back to therapy once I can afford to. That I am a newer soul, which had reincarnated just a handful of times, but that I was also such a bright soul. I was already level 9 and progressing so fast I was like 1 or 2 reincarnations away from full illumination. Then she came onto me. I was 21. She was late 50s, early 60s. Nope. You just have the classic autistic eyes. Every autistic person has them. My dad said to me when literally nobody else had same eye shape as me besides one of the teachers. I honestly don't know if it was meant to sound as an insult, but it definitely did sound like an insult to me. Speaking as someone in the autism spectrum, I feel that there do seem to be physical characteristics common amongst autistic people. But tact. Our CEO promised us raises last year. People have been leaving left and right and we are struggling to attract new employees. We got 0.5%. Not even the 1% minimum standard proposed by most corporations. My group and I were doing a school project, needed to print some stuff and we asked our friend to help us. He legit goes home and comes back saying, I can't find my printer. What the heck, man? You don't know how marriage works because your parents are divorced. My ex-wife. Also, it's not that I criticize you too much, it's that other people don't criticize you enough. Also, my ex-wife. I used to work at a restaurant and my boss went to drop some bacon in the deep fryer, and when I asked him, hey, isn't that going to make it 10 times more unhealthy? He said, nah, by putting it in the fryer it actually extracts the grease. Frying grease covered pork in more grease actually pulls out the grease. You learn something new every day. Yes. It would likely render out most of the fat, white part, in the bacon. Bacon is going to be greasy no matter what, so I don't think frying it would add any extra grease. Worst case scenario would likely be a grease exchange where bacon fat goes into the fryer and some of the fryer grease stays stuck to the bacon. This company looks out for its people. Companies are there to make money and people are always expendable and sometimes a liability. It's a lot easier to replace you. Vote for us. And we promise to scrap tuition fees and at least vote against any increases. Nick Clegg, Liberal Democrats. Right before hiking uni fees from £3k a year to £9k a year. 9k is a dream come true. A coworker of mine tried to tell me that she had been a survivor of cancer. She told me that she had to undergo chemotherapy and that the reason she gained so much weight is because I obviously knew how much chemotherapy makes you eat. My dad was dying of cancer at the time and had undergone chemotherapy and radiation. I called her on it. It depends on what type of chemo and what extra meds they give you. My mum was given steroids alongside the chemo and she got major munchies. I had to hide my main stash of chocolate for a while. My boss, we are in this together. We are all taking a pay cut to be restored later. Me thinking, WTF, you earn more than double me and we are in this crap because of you. People don't do stuff to make you angry. People do stuff and you decide to get angry. No mom, some people are just jerks. No mom, I don't decide to be angry. Emotions just happen. My parents often told me when I was a kid that sitting too close to TV will damage my eyesight and the specs I wear now are a direct result of that. My mom told me that too. Also that reading damaged my eyes because I did it pretty much 24/7. Thing is, I can see it. I focused almost exclusively on things 6 inches from my face while my body eyes were developing. It's not too far-fetched an idea that it had lasting consequences. She is definitely batty, though, who knows? If you work hard, you will be a success. Absolutely no understanding of real life exists in that sentence. I work harder than almost anyone else I know, but I'm still a freaking loser. More importantly than working hard is having connections, sadly. You should definitely check out Trump's Twitter feed. His tweets are a treasure trove in this regard. I'm completely serious, by the way. From time to time I've stumbled across some statements of his that were terrifyingly ridiculous. Much coffee is had. The right person will come along. Every pot has a lid or you will make someone very happy one day. 33 dang years on this earth and I'm still waiting. I'm planning on staying with a girl I found at 33 in the foreseeable future. 33 isn't old, bro. The one thing holding you back from a promotion is your self-deprecating sense of humor, and that's when I stopped trying. Fortunately, I'm in a much better place now. The cliche on every 2000s movie where the college university students party all the time and get with women. I'm currently in uni and the only things I'm getting are more debt and stress. Me. How did you get hurt? Brother, skateboarding accident. Me. Intense stare. Brother, I was skitching. Me. Idiot. Dumps alcohol over his torn up side. High school science class. Teacher told us the reason couples had to get a blood test before marriage was because if they were the same blood type it would be like inbreeding. Then when asked, well, what do they do if it turns out they're the same blood type, his answer was the perfect cherry on top of this bull's sundae. Oh, they would do a blood transfusion. Yes, that seems like a reasonable approach. Just completely replace someone's blood with a different blood type. You know, at least then, they won't have pass any problems on to their inbred offspring. Because they'll be dead. Give this teacher a Nobel Prize. Very calmly and casually I thin my old manager. After I asked her what's that, after she picked up the little snack-sized sandwich bag full of, I just watched her drop. After coming back inside from purchasing her which I also watched, on camera, and listened to from under the monitor behind the door she purchasing her in front of. Not really bulls, more than something to give myself a chuckle. Treat people as you expect to be treated. I've always lived by that since I was very young. Makes you a pushover and too eager to please. Ruined my life big time since I wasn't expecting everyone else to live by complete opposite morals. Someone told me that there's a surgery to implant an egg inside a man. No, men's bodies don't support female reproductive cells. My ex-girlfriend told me that when we get engaged, her engagement ring has to be worth half my yearly income, and she was serious. Notice how I said ex-girlfriend? We use contract workers so that if we ever have to reduce staff, We can just let their contracts expire. This gives employees more job security. Guess what happened a year later? Guess who wasn't affected at all? At a church, listening to a guest motivational type speaker. While I forget the context, he tosses out scientists can't explain why bees fly. They did the math and it said they shouldn't be able to fly, but they do. It was probably some sort of through God anything is possible message. But turns out, scientists can explain how bees fly, and what he was referring to was something like a century-old calculation based on a very inaccurate model of how they thought bees might be flying since they didn't have anything close to slow motion cameras. I was fortunate enough to work in the music industry for about 10 years. I ran a couple recording studios and the majority of our money was made by a local talent that would come in and record a song or two. The sheer amount of delusion from young rappers was frightening. In fact, it's one of the reasons why I got out of the music industry. Anyway, some Somali dude came in with a really thick accent wanting to rap. He had some beats he downloaded off of YouTube. Typical generic crap. Anyway, he proceeded to tell me and my business partner with a straight face that he was signed to Interscope Records and he would pay us after the song was a top 10 hit. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.